Good morning, friends. How you doing? Fantasy was first, and first to arrive. Rouse Rider second. Cora third. Conk fourth. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Can everybody hear me? Super EP? You asleep? Okay. I lost the world. I found the stronghold in, but I don't mind. You have a cat today? I mean, finding a stronghold isn't too difficult. I mean, if you find it randomly, that's rather interesting because that's a bit unusual. But at least they're not like they were when they first came out, where there were only three in the entirety of the world. We actually, back in those days, we'd started a multiplayer world after um, someone had come into our world and blown up a bunch of stuff. We thought we had been hacked, but it turns out that it was actually somebody we knew and had invited to the server. He came in and blew everything up because he was just being an asshole. We stopped being friends with him after that. Um, but we created like this big bedrock box at spawn, and then we just left and we went in a random direction, found a cool place to build, and then I can't remember who it was digging. It was either me or it was Sai, I think. Back in the day, yeah, back in the day, literally. Um, this is when strongholds were still new. So yes, back in the day. Um, and we just found one randomly, and we're like, well then. We lost that world eventually. But I wish we'd been able to keep our second world. Puma was the host of that world, I think, and we lost it. And it's the best one we've ever had, and it was called Port Derp. And I loved it. I've never quite been able to replicate the feel of Port Derp. Also, it's medicine time. Everybody take your Moroccos if you got them, or if you forgot to take them, take your medicine. How? Delicious. But yes, we're back to painting Highwire today because I had a lot of fun with this yesterday. So I figured we'd just continue playing around with witch designs. Plus, we didn't finish this design, so figured, might as well. What layers? Oh, okay. I'm gonna start naming my layers here. What's that? Oh, that's one of the references. Let's keep that open for the time being, and... Oh, hold on. She's close the door if you're gonna talk out there. Alright, sorry. Still working on my thirst trap villain? Absolutely. I mean, we still need to finish, so... She's just so confused. How did you miss? How did you miss? I actually kind of want to go with this look, but it's going to be cables. I'm just gonna play around with it. You can never have too many thick electric cables in your outfit, especially when you can control them. Yeah. Well, specifically, she doesn't control the cables, she controls the electricity flowing through the cables. But she has, like, crazy levels of control, so you don't wanna fuck with her. Same difference, not necessarily, because you could be controlling the cable itself, like in terms of either copper in the cable. So if you have cables um, that aren't made of copper, then you wouldn't be able to use those. Or you could be controlling the rubber coiling around the copper, like the rubber sheath. In which case, I did. I said it. My monitor's doing that thing and won't need to adjust the cable in the back. I don't understand why all of the ports was. The funny thing is, it's not just the ports on my computer; it's the port on my monitor too. Like the HDMI port is actually loose, and I don't know why. I know exactly what you were implying. You're not gonna fuck with her. You want to fuck her. For is to hydrate. You know. Oh, okay. Not gonna lie, she is hot. I wonder if we should. Yeah, maybe we could do that. Ooh. I mean, you gotta look cool while destroying the world, right? I'm not sure how I feel about that much brightness. She's definitely gonna need like a belt of some sort to hold up the pants. Stitch lines. She wouldn't see them on that side. Somehow you keep dating monster fuckers. Good morning, Neff. Did you have a nice shower? I just reach. I haven't done that yet today. Thank you. Wrong there. Turn that one off. Put down there. What's this one again? Oh, that's Eris. Okay. 90s anime. Now, what I'm gonna do, because I don't want to ruin the composition too much, but I do want to finish what we've got going on here. Like the sheer size of this canvas alone is I don't have to worry about. About losing quality here. Wow, why did I just do that? Because, this is at 100%, so it's already a pretty big picture. Just me being tall. Must be me being tall. Yeah, fair enough. In my other world, I'm using Minecraft Biome Finder to find all the ruined portals and take them down. The ruined portals shouldn't mess with your portals. As long as they're not activated, then they won't mess with your portals. Destroying portals when someone's using them. Fantasy was a big bad evil guy all along. Get all little electrical sparks for the smoke. It'll be fun if I start painting the background in here. This wall isn't... There isn't actually a wall here. I'm alone in that world, and I need the obsidian to make a prison underground. Or make a prion underground. You're building prions? Oh god. Prion disease is scary. Everybody on Shrimp Line Spines! The Blaster Jack from Conquest Theory. I started to a stretch, but that's okay. I needed another one, apparently. Just do a little wiggle. A little wave back and forth. As I knock down everything. I just watched that all fall. It's just like, oh, well, that's gone. Let's fix that, shall we? Oh, God. Oh, my tiny light bulbs. And a giant bag of beads. No wonder that fell down. It was imbalanced. I really should put that stuff up. And a whole bunch of papers and notes. Crap. I made a mess. Oh, Lord. Ah! Try not to destroy my universe with posture checks. I don't know how I managed that. Well, I know exactly how I managed that. Everything was just set up badly. All I did was nick it with my hand, and it all went to hell. Here's my ruler. And of course, all of my crafting materials, they just went flying. Well, I'm gonna take a moment to re-roll this piece of string here. Chris Bowden don't put it down, put it away stickers. Well, the problem is that's where it lives right now because like my whole uh um my whole room is still a mess. Like things are just sort of tentatively in place right now, but because I still don't have a bed, I can't put everything away properly. And I don't have a bed because I'm waffling on it. I have no experience, so getting started on things that I don't have any experience with is really hard for me. It's like executive dysfunction levels kind of thing. And then, finding the right timing for things is difficult. Yeah, I need to go like this. Oops. Get a hammer and some nails and let's go to town. Yeah. Well, the problem is, you see, wood is expensive. So I don't want to waste it. But I do have popsicle sticks. Maybe I can make like a model first or something. I can only get so far with paper designs before before my brain starts losing the plot, Or cardboard, yeah. It's mostly the fasteners issue, how I want to put everything together. And then, like, I wanted to store the walking pad under my dresser, but because the way the dresser's built, it's got the four legs. But then it has one leg right in the fucking middle. It like comes up here, and there's a gap, and it's right in the fucking middle. And I could theoretically push it to the center back of the dresser and turn it sideways so that we just have the support across here. So if I pushed it back a little bit and turned it this way instead of it being this way, I would still get the central support, but only in the back, and there's a possibility that the front would sag. But then again, most of the weight when I fill the drawers is always to the outside of the dresser. So there's not really a lot of downward force in the front center. Out here, there's not a lot. So theoretically I could end up doing it anyways. And it shouldn't be a problem. It is an IKEA dresser, and it's made out of pine, so it's not exactly the strongest wood, you know? Your cat likes to sleep resting the crook of his head in your elbow. Resting his head in the crook of your elbow. I don't know why I read that so weirdly. My desk? No, my dresser. It has a fifth leg. A fifth appendage. And it's right smack in the middle. Where it should be. So I was thinking of trying to redesign the bed to have a space to put the walking pad so that I could slide it in and out underneath the bed so it wouldn't be in the way. Dyslexia? Yeah, definitely dyslexia. Going back through some of like the old roleplay archive that I had and like converting it down so it fits as a it's easier to read as a text file. Like, God, the mistakes that I make in typing are atrocious. Like they were just terrible mistakes, and I was just like, why did I spell that way? How did I miss that? Like, it's such an obvious error, and I'm just like, what the hell? So are you still thinking of getting a cat fantasy? Actually drew hands on stream. Whoop whoop, it's the sound of the police. Nope, not anymore. It was too much work for me, and I'd rather jump into my hobbies and get my unfinished projects done. Well, you know what? It was a good test run. It was better than getting a cat and then not being able to take care of one. Besides, you can always cat sit again. There's also like you could foster as well. If you'd like to care for a cat every once in a while, and you don't want to get too attached, you could foster. Shelters always need fosters. Neff is Boop my Snoop. And Fantasy Snoop, too. It is the Boop Snoop. Like the Boop Snoop. But it is the Snoop that gets Boop. The Boop Snoop. If lactose intolerant people keep eating cheese and dyslexic people write books, do you think there are mathematicians who have dyscalculia? I mean, I can't do calculations in my head. I have to have paper. So, I wouldn't be surprised. Yep, you could try and find work in a shelter, or you could volunteer. They do. A lot of shelters will take volunteers. They won't pay people, but they always need people to help out because a lot of the times, at least in North America, shelters are not they're not really profitable because they're, well, not for profit companies, or they're straight up non-profit. Like, I think the Humane Society technically is a not for profit as opposed to a non profit. They are different things. She's very quickly going from, like, kind of a quiet, mysterious villain to a bit nonchalant. It only makes her cooler. First time chat from Sentai VT. Hello, how you doing? Welcome to the islands. My name is Sayaka. We do art here. Sometimes. Most of the time. We try, at least. Where's our crypt friend Necromancer? I don't know. Crypt Daddy is lurking. The Barrow Father. He hides. He waits. Underground. As the Barrow Father should. There he is! What's that, neighbor? Speak of the devil and he shall appear. Oh wait, that would be Neff. Neff's our tiefling. Necromancer is human? Question mark. The Barrow Father is always among us. Be. You're a tiefling. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Praise to the Barrow Father! Ooh, ooh. Let's not scare away the new person too much. Indeed. The Almighty Resurrector. The begrudging acceptance of fantasy hugs. When designing things with Cyberpunk, add random lights. This is how this works, you know. I'm gonna have to draw your guys' characters at some point. Y'all got Sonas? Share your Sonas with me. Look at how much better I've gotten at human figure since the start of the streaming from last year alone. Like, look at this. I'm proud of myself. How far I've come. Imagine that, like, practice actually paying off. Wow. Santa, if you're still there, how did you find us? Please let us know. I like to know your stories, your journeys. And don't be afraid to chat. We're all friendly here. We only bite if you want us to. You're imagining a Skeletor-esque design for Necromancer now? Is it resurrection if you raise zombies and skeletons? That's a good question. I mean, the difference between necromancy and resurrection is that the raised are still dead for a necromancer, whereas a resurrection is restoring of life. So, nuances. As they say, the necromancer is the healer that just didn't give up. I imagine Richard from LFG, but green and purple. Yeah. The Canadian has revealed himself. What, Cora? I didn't quite understand that. I never hid that I'm Canadian. Eh? I like your hugs, Fantasy. I'll take their hugs. Boys are just weird like that. I'm just a potato. Potatoes like hugs, I'm sure. No one's ever asked them, but I speak for all of potato kind when I say we like hugs. Still say that Jesus was a zombie? Well, it depends on whether he was brought back to life or he was still dead. It's questionable. We don't really know for sure. But I think zombie Jesus is better than regular Jesus. You know? You know? It's my friend Taylor, who was the namer of Highwire. He always makes fun of the way I say bag. Like a grocery bag. He always makes fun of it. He's always like, bag. He's like, it's a bag. Yeah, it's a bag. It's okay. I always make fun of the way Puma says pink. She says pink. It gets much more nasally in the eye for people from down south. He was brought back for most of 3 days and disappeared. Absolutely a zombie. They just weekend at Bernie's him. That's all they did. They he was just weekend at Bernie's with Jesus. He was dead the whole time. For a character that's it's as old as this one is. You know, she's got a good sense of style. I won't say more than that because it's spoilers. But man, I can't wait to get back to writing, and I'm sure Mew Juice would really want me to get back to writing. Because she's the only one that's actually read what I've written. Without, like, being asked to do any edits or anything. Just, hey, read this, enjoy it if you want. And then she keeps asking me for more, and I'm just like, I feel validated. You're gonna pronounce it pink from now on? Okay. Dude took a long ass nap. Yeah, that long ass nap from all the blood loss. Or being nailed to a cross by your hands. Very funny, guys. You just went all like Mark Watney. Just science the shit out of it in that cave. It's all about leverage. The Bible's full of such contradictions. Yes, because it's a piece of fiction. Not pink. Pink. Think pint. But pink. 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 It's kind of a strange word, isn't it? Pink. Like, we have ink, and then we have pink. 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 I, as in I am. Pink? You're gonna say pink? We're just gonna have our own linguistic drift in this chat here. May I ask you a question? Who? You? Me? Yes, you. I actually really like this design. I wasn't gonna go with the cyberpunk look, but I mean, for Highwire, how could you not? You just can't not do it. There's a scene with Starcatcher that I tried to paint a while back too, or at least draw, and it turned out awful. Where is it? Oh, it's from the same year even. I was trying things and it failed horribly. Where is this thing? Yeah. Oop. Accident clicked on the thing, sorry. Can't stand pink, don't like it? Well, I got news for you. The main character, one of his primary colors is pink. At least his witch form is. Careful, you might end up summoning Pink. The singer? Pink? The band? The group? The famous people? Imagine having that come to our chat. Unless you mean Pank. Because Pank Raru is welcome anytime. Because Pank is a strange being. And I like Pank. We tried so hard and got so far, but in the end it doesn't even matter. We're the pink cult. Yeah, I'm still not sure about, like, his witch outfit. It doesn't even matter because, like... We're talking about Pink, why bring up Linkin Park? Who knows? We never know what goes on here. But yeah, I've got this awful picture of Starcatcher that's just bad. It's objectively, like, there's so many things wrong with it. I hate it. And that's just, like... That was from 2023. Come on, it's like a huge difference. I've also got this portrait of Alex. And this one of Vaughn. So, same character. So, massive improvement in painting skill. I'm becoming more comfortable with shading skin with colors that aren't just skin tone, and I think that's one of the things that was really missing in my paintings. Because if you look back at, like, the old version of Whitefire, like, I was still really uncomfortable. You see that, like, green down in there? I was still really uncomfortable with that. And if you even go back to like the other ones, I didn't even have that in this one. I was like, only skin tone, dark shadows, and it's just so bad. Not to mention, like, all the anatomy's pretty horrible too. But you know, just the difference that you see. And even in this one, I wasn't quite as confident as I was with Starcatcher and Vaughn, where they have like the purples and the pinks. There's a little bit of like yellow, green, peach. And better at the art of the snows. Yeah, really. My noses have gotten so much better. I mean, this one was still okay. And like, I was trying to do portraits and still make them look like different people, but they kept end up being relatively the same, right? And I think one test that I would like to try eventually is to just do a like straight on portraiture face shots like these ones, because if I just take Vaughn's face, so if we take a copy of it and let's see if we can do this.
Cora Huroda says, test the fish.
Test the fish. The fish has been tested. I think I want to take this out. My tolerance is set too high on my magic wand tool. Oh, still too high. If we were just to take his hair. Oops. I might need to set the tolerance a little higher for some of these other areas. Oh. Yeah. So I set the tolerance lower for in here. And then higher for here. But yeah, one of the things I want to do is just straight on like face shots, but almost no hair. So it's basically just a bald head. And then you paint the noses and mouths and eyes differently. Same thing with ears, because everybody's ears are different, and they're sort of like earmarks of how we tell the difference between people's faces. But I have poor facial recognition, and I think it's because probably some level of tism where I don't look people in the eye, and I tend to avoid looking at people's faces when I talk to them. Probably because shyness. Who knows? I couldn't exactly tell you why or how I do things the way that I do. What we're gonna do we're just gonna... There are secrets to the magic wand that I can't explain. You can sort of like use the magic wand to expand the selection if the tolerance is set a little bit higher. Like it likes to try and fill in the selection. You don't necessarily have to hit it straight on, but if you hit like an area and there are pixels around it that are relatively the same color, it'll grab those as well, which is why I was having trouble with the skin tone in some places, like right there. Right there. See, it's too similar, even though like I'm not clicking on those spots. It's still trying to grab them. Just use a quick subtractive process here. Good enough. I'm gonna turn the luminosity way down. I'm gonna grab our airbrush. Clean up the edges a little bit. But like, to me, he looks like a completely different person when I do that, right? It's very extremely rough. Even though his, like, eye and face shape has not changed. The hair adds so much to how you recognize a person for me that, like, they look like completely and utterly different people. Even though these two are identical, with exception to a change in the shadows, and I flipped the face. For me, they look completely different. So, I don't know. I'm just gonna close that one. Test the fish. Someone tested the fish. The fish is tested. And now he's probably going to go out for milk and cigarettes. Meds yes, no eat yet though. The scale this morning, as usual now, teases me. It's like, oh, $2.99? Nope, $3.02. Fuck you. Every day. I'm so close. So close to being under 300 again. Enjoy your nap in the shade, Neff. And your breakfast. Yeah, I came downstairs today and Cheese was still up and he had made bacon and eggs for my mom and himself. He didn't make any bacon for me. He knows I get up at 8. Or maybe he doesn't because he usually gets up at like noon now. But he knows I'm up every morning. He didn't make any extra bacon. And it was like, what the hell? Sad. And, you know, he's up now and he's still not here. My own brother doesn't watch my streams. Sad. Necrocrypt. Yeah, I need to decide what's on the end of her cables now because I don't know anymore. I could just make them standard electrical cable ends. So go grab this. They just have these giant industrial socket plug things on the end of them. Don't forget that this is not a one-layer painting. What if you made a character for my book universe? By all means, create a witch. You kind of vaguely know how their powers work now. Create a witch. Or create a witch hunter. Of course, you don't know how the witch hunters really operate. But then again, I changed it in the 2024 version. Before 2024, the world didn't know that witches were real. And there hadn't been, like, the mass casualty and, like, world collapse that happened. Like, it was just, like, regular society, and the witches were, like, secret identity kind of thing. and there were just strange things that happened that people just didn't notice. You know, the whole Harry Potter, like, muggles don't see anything kind of bullshit. Um, but I changed that, and now it's like, you know, witches are an actual thing in the world. Everybody knows that they're a thing, but they think they're all like crazy, psychopathic, like feral, almost like in a sense zombies. They're just vicious monsters that like to kill because they're witches and they're satanic. You know, it's like satanic Panic of the 80s kind of thing. You know, if you do anything, you know, related to witchcraft and fantasy, so like in this world, fantasy books don't sell very well. People much prefer like noir and crime novels as opposed to swords and sorcery, dragons. They nobody wants anything fantasy because up until like witches first appeared, and then the whole world went for shit afterwards because everybody panicked. Uh, like fantasy was okay. You know, it was generic. Harry Potter was like in a sense canonically a thing, and um and then witches appeared and started killing people, and then they're like, holy shit, magic is real and it's evil. And so yeah, you got these bands of witch hunters that formed, and that's sort of like why the world collapsed, is because people lost their shit, especially the religious ones, and they started going after like people who ran fortune telling services, tarot card readers, anyone who showed any interest in anything slightly nerdy, fantasy, unusual. So people like LARPers would suffer too, especially if they played like a mage character. Writers, artists. It was like a like sliding back into like the deep bowels of the dark ages at their worst point, and like the Salem witch trials, but on a global scale. So there's just like roving bands of witch hunters, and eventually some countries got their shit together enough to be like, no, witch hunters are not allowed. You need to We need to separate this mayhem from uh from what's from governance, and so they started outlawing witch hunters, and there are a lot of countries now that have outlawed witch hunting completely, but they still have to have a way to take care of witches, which is why there are uh in the case of like Europa, the country, nation, continent, they allow one group to exist on their continent just to appease the rest of the world and be like, yes, we're not a safe haven for like witches or anything. So that's where you get the witch hunters that Alex ends up joining, and not just some random band of mercenaries. So in this case, my world has a little bit of like sub history where Russia sort of had a collapse during that period as well, where Siberia broke away. So Siberia is actually like its own nation in this world. The United States just went for shit, and not to be too real here, but they allowed witch hunting, and they continue to allow witch hunting, and their country is suffering pretty hard. Canada, on the other hand, did the opposite. They also outlawed witch hunting, but they still allow this one group, which is actually run by the Vatican, and they're called the Eden Society. Religious undertones. And so, in essence, the, the the Vatican is the one in control of the witch hunters in my world, and they're sort of a paramilitary organization that's global, and they have branches all over the planet. Branches have numbers, sort of like based on country codes. So, there would be like Canada branch 2017 or something, and uh, then they would reduce that to a more local identity. So with like um, they would call themselves like the Vancouver branch 2017 or something. So in Europa, it's a lot smaller than Canada. So there's Europa branch 117 as part of the city North Cove Hunt, which is where the story takes place. Your witch hunter would be called Shadow Strider. What kind of power would he have? Like, what's his main quote unquote element? It doesn't have to be an actual like element. Like Starcatcher uses he creates explosives, essentially like Roman candles. That's how his power manifests, as basically fireworks. It's only a witch. Why you have to be mad? Exactly. But the American witch hunters tend to be very zealous, and well, overzealous even, and extremely violent. So probably places, nations in the world that have high levels of religious integration in their society. So lots of places in Africa and South America, certain places in Europe, the Middle East, the United States, where religious indoctrination is really high. They had higher levels of violence and greater population decrease, and they're still having economic problems in this world. Darkness, surprisingly. Well, yes, but how? Find a creative way to manipulate darkness. It doesn't have to be, like, it doesn't have to be something that actually exists. So Highwire's power is specifically related to the environment in which she grew up, and having access to electricity happened to be sort of just what her power did. How it came about. I can't really explain more than that without really, really spoiling things, so I'll pull back from there. Again, Starcatcher, his power is very much similar to his father's, so he's not only influenced by his father's abilities, but also parts of his childhood that were really important to him that came up during his, I guess, manifestation as a witch. Because you can be a witch and have a child that is not a witch. It does happen, but it happens very infrequently because witch families tend to, stick together more often than not. Alexander's power, I can't explain without spoiling things. Major spoilers there. Whitefire essentially revenge. It's the only way I can put that one. Revenge. His whole home was burned down as a child by witch hunters, and so he burned the witch hunters. And the 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 hotter your flame, the whiter it gets, kind of thing. And it's funny because the first witch they come across in the book is a fire witch, so he uses flames as his primary uh, manifestation. And then they're having so much trouble with this one old hobo ass witch who's a feral. He doesn't have any formal training, you know. and and then they come across Whitefire. Of course, the witch hunters already knew about Whitefire, so they know about like the different levels of witches. But for generally most of societies, they're like witches. They're like the crazy hobo man that's running around burning people alive. Yeah. So in the case of your character, they're basically just giving physical form to Shadow. So you could theoretically, once you reach like master level sort of adaptation to your power, uh, you could take a shadow on a sunny day and turn it into a physical object that probably lasts for a certain amount of time. So you could pull like the shadow from a leaf uh, in noonday sun. This would probably follow it, probably closer to Highwire's level of understanding of her power. Um, you could take a shadow from a leaf in the noonday sun and turn it into a sharp object that you could probably huck across the space and with a probably implemented form of telekinesis. And that would work as a witch power. You know, basically like cherry blossom daggers kind of thing. You know, you pulling from Bleach here and anime and stuff. You know, they're always like, oh, the Sakura leaf storm kind of thing. You could do something like that with actual shadows, and that would follow under using the imagination system, grandmaster level control of your magic. Just regular, like most of the witches don't ever reach that level of control. But if you wanted to have a character that was really powerful, uh, that would be that would be probably the penultimate level of control for that specified ability if you're manipulating shadows as though they were physical objects. And don't spoil it, I have an idea for a non-witch who has started Rebellion to Hide fantasy books. One of my witch hunters is a fantasy nerd. And there is an interaction in the book. Hold on, my dad's here for my mug. Hold on. Thank you. There is a point in the book where, like, Alexander's getting to know the other witch hunters, and he finds out that one of them is a fantasy book nerd. So most people who like fantasy novels, things like Dragonlance, Harry Potter, etc., they're all very closeted, and artists have like this. Artists and authors have this like underground kind of black market thing going on around the world, where they're like selling and sharing old manuscripts and stuff, and copies of novels, and people are like handwriting copies of things like The Hobbit. So that is something that is in my world. And again, that came about in the 2024 version. I did not go into that level of world building until 2024, and I don't know why. But like something changed when I started writing that version, I say 2024, but it actually started in 2023, just before my mom's stroke, and continued after my mom's stroke. On the train ride home, uh, I was writing because there was nothing else I could do. If you guys want to make uh Witch Hunter Society fan characters, like, by all means. I really like talking about my world, as you could probably tell. Yeah, I mean, I could I could create a little thread on the Discord if people want to like hash out ideas. I'm more than happy to talk about how things function in the world, and I can use character examples for that as long as I don't spoil too much for you guys, because I really do want to publish this. And seeing people actually get excited about it just warms my heart so much, because I didn't like I've been trying for so long to get people interested in this, and I don't want to be that author that, or that person that talks about their book and then never writes it. I don't want to be that person. I've done so much work on this, and the artwork and world building alone, not to mention the literally 1 million words written in conjunction with the various versions of this. Like, just the word count for the Witch Hunter Society. 1,030,000. Thank you.
Careful. Smart.
Yep. Imagine Shadow Strider meeting the Witch Hunters. Yeah, and there's a reason the witches have like their own government. They have their own parliament, basically. They did used to have a royal family, but they were all killed by the Eden Society. The Eden Society are the most dangerous witch hunters. They're the people that know what's going on. They've known what's been going on. They've known for 700 years. The Eden Society are a witch hunting crew, or I guess company, military company, that have been around for 700 years. The rest of the world does not know that. They think they popped up along with the rest of all of the crazy roving witch hunter bands, but they've sort of been adopted internationally as like the de facto quote unquote policing force against witches. So they're like a special detective agency, essentially, according to the way most people see them. Before the previous version that I'm drawing from for the rest of my lore from now on, before all of that, they were just a secret band of witch hunters that were secretly fighting witches, and I'm like, this wouldn't work. It wouldn't get out. And it would be catastrophic for society to learn that this was actually a thing. And then you would have, if you didn't have the catastrophic collapse like what happened in my world, you would have the grifters who pretend to be like tarot card readers, and they would and like they actually pretend to have powers. You would have the snake oil salesman. Hira, hello. We have a posture check from Hira. Everybody on Shrimpline Spines. Give yourself a little wave back and forth. Stretch out the sides. Oh, that feels so good. Like seaweed in the ocean currents. Just wiggle. And not knock everything off the side of your desk. Like I did earlier. It was an absolute fail. of a posture check. Although we did definitely get some stretches and movements there, having to pick up all the shit that I knocked over. You gotta put the shrimp emote as a gif above your head for the redeem. Absolutely. I will try to figure that out. I would like it to, like, go all over the screen, to be honest. If I had a little song that would play, I would play it. If I had a little song that went with it, I would play it at that point. Obviously, it's harder to block out the light of fire. Yeah. And there are things about how the witch powers work that only I know. That I will not tell anyone for the time being. For probably a very long time. Or ever. That would make even the Eden Society be like, well, fuck. There's jack shit we can do about these things. And of course, like, there is some suspension of disbelief. It's magic, yada, yada, yada. Different universe, different rules. What was I saying? before the posture check. My train derailed. Either way, I'm really happy that you guys are excited about this. I don't want to be that author that doesn't ever write the book. And there are different ratings for the control levels, so most witches who have the transformation powers, most of them have just sort of like an average level of control, kind of like how generally there are people who have average art skills. You know, they can draw maybe a little bit more than a stick figure, but then that's about as far as it goes. Or you get, you know, the average writer who pumps out things like Harlequin romance. Like, they're good enough to be a professional, but they're not Tolkien's. Highwire is like Tolkien levels, Brendan Sanderson levels of talent in terms of witch powers. Whitefire, sorry, is also in that category. Starcatcher is more if you're slightly above average witch, but he's a teenager. He's been using his powers quite consistently for a few years. There's some story background again that I'm trying not to reveal. Most of the witches that Alexander comes across in North Cove Hunt are generally just average witches. They have the transformation powers. They participate in wraith hunting. Wraiths are monsters that eat human souls, and if the soul pool depletes too much, the universe could end, because, well, it's life. Think of like the life stream from Final Fantasy VII, essentially. If you use up all of the life stream, then the planet dies. If you use up all of the life stream, the universe dies. And that's sort of like why the witches exist, is they fight these wraiths and hunt them and keep the soul pool going. I guess I could call it the soul stream. That would make more sense, wouldn't it? But that's I don't know. This is I think the reason I never called it that is because it's like falling into Chrono Crusade territory. They had the soul stream, something like a astral stream, soul stream. I think they used both terms. But it's very uncommon for people to have Grandmaster levels of control. The witch hunters call them devastation. So Highwire's a devastation level witch, the kind of witch that can cause entire nations to collapse. There's a reason for that. That even they don't know. And then there's just like bog standard, everyday kind of people, but they have magic. There are even some witches who can only have like a family trait. So it's kind of rare-ish, but there are genetic powers that are passed down. So while Starcatcher has a power that's similar to his father's, how do I explain this? He also could have like a bloodline trait that he got from his mother, but bloodline traits are a little bit different in that they don't actually like have a physical effect on things. They're more like a sixth sense in a way, or they have other side effects that affect the world around them. It's hard to explain. It's even harder to explain without spoilers. That's the annoying part. God. My brain is like going a million miles a second. I'm like, how do I explain this without ruining the story of things? Healing. Healing is one of those things. There aren't witches who can just heal people. But there is one family in North Cove Hunt that has healing powers. But if you're a witch who has healing powers and you don't understand really how the body works, you could cause problems. It's kind of like Nameless. He doesn't understand fully how his curse powers work, and he tried to heal a fish and he accidentally turned it inside out while it was still alive, and he was like, I'm never doing this again. Would you be able to use things you cannot see? What do you mean use things you cannot see? Nugget! Hello! Oh, big stretch. The cat has arrived. So everybody's gone silent. I'm just like, am I saying too much? Am I boring? Or are they all creating? Let's say, could you manipulate a shadow inside a person? That would be Grandmaster level control. So, if you were really powerful, yes, you probably could. And uh, there are also caveats to how witches can use their power, how much they can use their power. Alexander gets tired very quickly because he's never trained, and uh, you could theoretically kill yourself if you use your powers too extensively, because you're basically using your own soul as fuel. And if you don't train, it would be kind of like, how would I put this in terms of physicality? It would be like me trying to uh, compete against like Usain Bolt in a sprint, except I would have the ability to compete with him in a sprint, but I would probably tear all of my tendons and shatter my bones if I did, because I've never done any practice and I weigh as much as I do. But I would be able to compete on even ground with him for that moment. But my bones would literally just explode inside my legs, and my lungs would probably rip themselves to shreds from the strain. It would be something like that. So, a high wire is really powerful. There are reasons why she's really powerful. Not only is she highly educated and really understands, you know, electricity from, you know, a scientific perspective, approaching on, you know, dealing in quantum mechanics here. Not only does she understand it to the level of which, you know, an expert in the field of electricity would, like probably the world's leading expert, but she's also very well trained in her powers. She knows how to regulate her power output so that she won't kill herself. And she has, I guess, an external fuel source. That's the only way that I can put that without spoiling anything. But she has an external fuel source. And electricity in modern society is also very abundant, so she doesn't have to like reach deep within herself for that extra boost. Shadow Strider could kill someone by pushing their shadows inside of them. Yes. The question is, would he have that level of control and ability? Keep in mind, witches like this are supposedly extremely rare. We're talking like 1 in a million kind of talent, and there's only, as we've already established, 1.3 million witches globally at any given time. Witches with transformation powers and are like part of actual witch society. And they range from like your everyday pleb, you know, from like redneck, you know, 2-digit IQ American, a boony hobo whatever, to nuclear scientist. So you have to look at population averages. But yeah, if you wanted like a crazy powerful witch, yes, theoretically he could do it, but it would also be extremely exhausting, even with high wire levels of talent. Remember, she is the big bad evil guy. And like I said, external power source. Yeah. I have plenty of characters who are everything in between. And there's nothing wrong with having a character that's not all powerful. It's kind of like what I love about Nameless as my LARP character is there are things he can't do, like healing. If he had like the medical understanding, he might be able to do healing, but it's just not his thing. So, while he does have like high recovery rates for himself, healing other people, he's totally useless at, and that's what makes him so fun. And you know, he's kind of naive because he's never really had a lot of experience. He's mistrustful, so he has trouble opening up to people who are being honest and good with him. And flaws are fantastic. Yes, there is also the morality of the character. Would he kill someone like that? Look at Avatar: The Last Airbender and Bloodbenders. Katara never thought of using the water in someone's blood to control them like that. She never would have come up with something like that. But the old bloodbender lady who did come up with that, she went through the horrors of war and imprisonment and torture and mistreatment, and she saw like the absolute worst of humanity. So she came up with basically Geneva Convention levels of bending, right? And she realized that there is water in blood. Maybe she didn't realize specifically that it's water in blood, but she saw blood as a fluid, and she's like, well, I can manipulate fluids. And you start getting into like nuance of power and electricity. So one of the specialties that Highwire has is puppetry. Like, you think puppetry with like strings. Hold on, my brother's being very loud in the hallway so that everybody can hear everything that he's saying. He's standing at the top of the stairs talking down to my dad in the living room and is like, bro, death is striking! 3 stream streak, 350 points for you. Welcome, thank you for sharing your time with us. So it's safe, right? Yes, it's 100% safe for me. Thank you for the hydrate. Yeah, see, Fantasy has a character who's just happy with his life and powers. There's a witch named Half Baked. He's a fire witch as well. So fire is when you get down to it, there's a lot of witches with very common elemental powers because humans are just, you know, like that. We live in our environment. Fire is something that is both dangerous and life-giving. Same thing with Highwire's electricity powers. Electricity is very abundant in society, so witches with electrical powers are very, very, very common. There's a witch named Blue Machine who uses electricity in a different way. He uses electricity to draw objects together and create constructs with them. So he makes little robots. And he uses those as his weapons. So he can pull apart a solar light and use the remaining electricity inside of it. And that's like the nuance of his power that he doesn't quite understand because he's just not he's not mature enough because he's one of the teenagers. He's not powerful enough, and he's also more of a, like, shoot first, ask questions later. I don't really need to do too much thinking, but he's also, like, he's not stupid. But he's brash, and he's brawn over brains. And he tends to do things first rather than think. A battle between Highwire and Shadow Strider would look cool if nothing else. Yes, it probably would. So, yeah. While Blue Machine also uses technically electricity, as sort of like a basis for his power. Highwire is also exactly the same kind of power system. But she sticks a wire in the base of your neck, and you become a puppet because she's controlling the electrical impulses in your brain. She's scary. Blue Machine is just an inconvenience. Like, get the fuck out of here. Goddamn kids. Get off my lawn. So yeah, that's the kind of like range of power that you can have. You have Whitefire, who ostensibly has thermite at the tip of his fingers, and then you have Half-Bake, who's like, yeah, I make crepes. So I don't need to fire my bread oven with wood. Yeah. But he can still burn a wraith. That's all he needs. He's like, yeah, put my kids through university. That's my goal in life. And I love that. Oh, I never really got into I never thought I would get into world building of this level, where it's like I'm creating characters with their own individual like motivations, and they don't even really matter that much to the story. But like, Kale's one of my favorite like background characters. His name is Kale. He's half-baked. It comes out very quickly in the story. It's not really a mystery. His name is Kale, and he's kind of a troll. When he first meets Alexander, Alexander's like, isn't that a vegetable? And he's like, yeah, well, you know, my parents owned a vegetable store. And they just really love their vegetables, so like all of my siblings are named after vegetables. And Alex is like, what the fuck? And Gail's like, I'm just joking, I don't have any siblings. But then you never know whether his name's actually Kale because his parents owned a grocery store or not. So you're just like, but wait a minute. He's kind of a troll that way, and I love him. It's just my menace. But I love adding like little bits like that into a world. And you know, while you have like Highwire, you also have Kale. and he's called Half-Baked because he doesn't really care. And the hunters that come across him are like, bro, what, why are you just hanging out? We're here to kill you. And Gail's like, you could try. And then he just walks away. That's the kind of person he is. And like he's really not important to the story. Like he has some he's a vehicle for plot points in some cases. And that's it. But he has that much depth to him. His wife's kind of a bamf, too. And it's so much fun to just create those characters, those people. See, everybody is just like typing away or sketching or drawing or something. I don't know. Either that, I'm boring. It's so quiet. It makes me nervous. I encourage people to create characters with a huge range of abilities and flaws. Flaws are the best. Idea of the kind of character Shadow Strider is that when he's switched up, he's completely silent. Necromancer just working. That's okay, Necromancer. As long as I'm entertaining you while you work, that's good. I'm tempted to make my character's husband a witch hunter secretly saving the witches. Well, there are a few of those. They could just be part of one of those random bands of witch hunters. Or they could be part of the Eden Society. The Eden Society tends to be really good at rooting those people out. And there's other things that I also can't say about them. God damn it. That's like a book 5. Hold on, let me look at my notes. Book 4, sorry. Books 3 and 4 are pulling into that territory there. So the theme for the overarching story for Witching Hour is more about finding home. When you really, really get down to it, the whole series is about finding the place where you are happiest in life. For Kale, it's, just his dream is to open a bakery and not continue to work, all these separate jobs just to make sure his family's fed. Like, his dream is to do the thing, right? And, his take care of his wife, make her happy, make sure his kids are successful. That's his home. Alexander doesn't really know where he belongs. He's always had a lot of trouble in his life. He's been through hell several times. And he's not open to trusting people very well. Vaughn is the character that sort of like breaks through that barrier of his where he keeps people at a distance. So Vaughn is the first one to break through that barrier for Alexander, other than Alexander's foster parent, Evan. But it's very hard for Alexander to let people in and to sort of establish a place where he belongs. And he'd get in trouble with the witch government for that one. The sending letters to taunt the hunters. Yeah, you get in trouble with the witch government for that. But yeah. At the core of it, the story is about Alexander finding his place in the world and where he belongs within it. And you sort of like get all of these other encounters of people in the world interacting, and eventually it starts coming to organizations and ideologies clashing. If either can catch him, the witch government, they have their own police force, and people like Starcatcher's father works for the Office of Enforcement, or the OE for short, and that's the witch police. And they are witches, and they're very talented witches. So, they have witches that can negate other witches' powers. That is a thing. So he would have to be careful about what he does. But for the most part, witches are too busy to really bother with some guy who has a death wish. Because when the Eden Society really gets down to it, they can and will kill a, a standard level witch. For the most part, they're dealing with the ferals, or the Inferi, as the witch call them. So witch hunters call them ferals. The Inferi is the term that the witches use to call witches who turn late and aren't part of witch society, and do basically the Usain Bolt thing, but on a lower scale, where they burn themselves out, and then they go through this thing called trial by fire, and it's sort of in reference to the old Salem witch trials, where if they don't learn to control their power and control their output, they eventually just rip their souls apart. And then they become a wraith, which is a soul-eating monster. It's an ecosystem. And it's a chicken and the egg situation. Like, did witches come about because wraiths existed, or did wraiths come about because witches existed? You don't actually know, and I don't think even I know. Your witch power is to... What? Magically meds fantasy books and makes copies of them. So you have the power to manipulate pulp and paper? Mend. Oh, okay. I mean, that could be a thing. Like, your character could theoretically have been a librarian who didn't know that they were a witch during the time that witches became known to the world and people started burning down the libraries. Because that's a thing that happened. When the libraries closed their doors and was like, well, we're not going to take the fantasy books off the shelves. Like, you know, there were always the people in society who are like, look, calm down. Like, they're just books, they're just stories. And then there are the people who are having the Harry Potter book burnings because they're like, witchcraft, it's against my religion. Incidentally, known as the inciting incident that actually caused the whole problem, was a reference to the Harry Potter book burnings. Yeah, you see, and that's all that matters. I mean, Half-Baked is really good at controlling the temperature of his fire because he wants his bread to turn out right. Like, yeah, I'm just saying, like, theoretically, your character could have been a librarian at the time, watched one of their libraries burn, and because fire is the thing that destroyed the books, they manifested a power that allowed them to restore the books from their burned state. Basically, when you get down to the nuance of how that would work, is they're just reversing time on the book. But they don't know that they're doing that. So you're playing with, like, quantum mechanics there, but because their focus, their mental focus, is on the restoration of the book, they could technically expand their power to other things other than books, but their understanding of their power is to manipulate the pulp and paper in the books. but it could be they're manipulating the molecules or the reversing time. It could go either way. I like to base my magic systems in some level of science. But for the most part, it's like hand wavy. Like you're using magic sparklers that look like fireworks because you like fireworks, and as a kid, you thought they were like the most wondrous and magical thing, and that's why your power looks like fireworks and acts like fireworks, and you understand them to be fireworks. Because a lot of the times, witches don't live long enough to really figure out much more of their power than that. Medic already is evil. What are you talking about? I thought he was neutral evil. Okay, so Cureless is neutral evil, Medic is chaotic neutral? Although Cureless sounds more like chaotic evil. Just evil. Sometimes the alignment chart doesn't fit existence. It's kind of weird. So your character would probably spend a lot of time training and experimenting with his power. Then yes, he could theoretically reach master or grandmaster levels of control. You're reaching the point where, like, Highwire's been to university for electrical engineering, and she's studied nuclear physics, etc. She understands the fundamentals of how molecules and stuff work. The average person doesn't understand that stuff. You'd be surprised how little the average person understands about basic concepts of science. It's alarming, to be honest. It alarms me. So your character would probably be well educated. And maybe approaching like fitness buff levels of witch power. So like trains every day, you know, makes sure he goes to the gym kind of every day thing. So not your average Joe, but the guy who likes to go to the gym every day and push himself to be able to do like a heavier lift, you know, or you know, I train for this marathon every year or something, depending on how powerful you would want to go with him. When you start going for grandmaster level, you're getting into like high level academic training and understanding. The witch hunters find his hideout and discovers negative space art studies. That would be neat. It's kind of like Rowan from Magi Nation, where like he's a mage with a light affiliation, and so he can't use shadow magic because otherwise he'll rip his soul apart. There's a lot of soul ripping in my stories. But he uses the law of opposites, where the absence of one is the whole of the other, to ostensibly use shadow magic, where he removes the light in order to make shadows. So he manipulates light essentially negative space. And the same thing with his sponsor, who is a shadow mage with a shadow affiliation. He does the same thing. He manipulates shadow in order to use light. It takes more effort, a lot more work, absolutely. But you have to have, understanding. Cheese has arrived with Tesla. Can you put that little... I must have knocked that over earlier.
That's what I heard.
I didn't hear it.
I thought Mom had fallen down. I freaked out.
What?
I thought Mom had fallen down.
What?
The thump.
When was it?
2 hours ago?
2 hours ago.
I don't know.
It couldn't have been 2 hours ago because I just walked through there like 10 minutes ago.
Okay, that wasn't that.
When you were standing at the top of the stairs talking to Dad.
Oh, okay.
I'm still streaming.
Hi, chat.
Cheese is here. Okay, yeah, no, he's just straight up evil. Yeah, so I don't know if you've been around, how long you've been around Death, but people are trying to create witch characters to fit in my world. Your character's just an evil scientist. They're not a witch, they're just an evil scientist. Cheese is looming.
He's cuddly.
He's always cuddly. He's Tesla. Oh, you don't need to apologize, Daph. People are creating fan characters for work that doesn't technically exist yet.
A witch. Barna.
Exactly. Oh god, my character's like flying all over the place. Christ. Every time I turn around. Because the camera can't account for the back of my head.
Yeah. You don't have eyes in the back of your head.
No, I don't. She's grabbed Tesla and then flopped backwards on my bed. Now he's just holding Tesla on his belly and just petting him roughly. It's like, think he found his powers from trying to hide? Possibly as a child. That would work. Fantasy says hi, Cheese. It's been so long since Cheese was here.
She's purring so loudly. It's therapy cat. That's what you are, Tesla. You're a therapy cat.
I never know what to expect from you, Death. You are an enigma. I'm always confused by you. It's fun. But I had a feeling that you weren't here when people were talking about creating witch characters. So Fantasy's got a witch that can manipulate materials to repair books. Because they like fantasy books. And fantasy books are things that get burned in this world. So there are very few fantasy authors left. And they have their own, like, secret underground market thing going on. Fantasy is tickling you as punishment for not watching stream. Cheese is just looking at me. He's just looking.
I'm tormenting the cat. This is very important business.
I was down at work when I come. What? That sentence, I think, might need some restructuring. I don't quite understand. I'm assuming you were busy when you came in, or you were late. You came in late because you were working. You have an idea for his outfit, but it would look mind-bending. Like, you saw Starcatcher, he has like a nebula inside of his cloak, so, you know. Mind-bending is fine. It literally has, like, space. Well, same thing on his shoes, actually. It looks stupid. I hate this picture. I'm gonna get away from that picture. I hate it. You were done with work when you came here. So you came afterward? Yeah, yeah. You see, that's the problem I'm having with Starcatcher, right? Is his hair is so black that it looks like it's absorbing the light around it, and that's really hard to paint. It's hard to paint Vanta black and still like show form, because the whole point of Vanta black is that it doesn't really
99.99% absorbed.
Yeah, like it doesn't reflect any light, and therefore you don't get any visual information back.
Exactly. Just black.
Yeah. And that's hard to paint as hair.
I think it would just look like part of his head was missing.
Yes.
Then maybe you shouldn't paint his hair Vanta black.
Exactly. That's why I said it seems to be absorbing the light around it. But yeah, basically, Cora, what you're saying is your character wears a Vanta black outfit.
It makes hiding very easy.
It does make hiding very easy. He's a shadow witch.
Well, that's just cheating at that point.
Well, yeah, but most shadow witches wouldn't be able to really do that.
This isn't my real nose, it's a false one. More, it also floats on water. More witches!
A duck!
Churches, lead.
Very small rocks. It's a power play, yes indeed. But keep in mind, it's fabric, so it's not a shadow. You can't kill what you can't see, but also the thing that you can't see is very, very visible to you because it's just a shapeless black mass. So it would be very visible. Like, have you seen Vanta black things? Like, for instance, here's an apple. Painted with Muso black, which is more black than Vanta black. That's what it would look like. That's what it would look like to somebody who sees your character wearing clothes that are ostensibly Muso black. Tesla, what the fuck? Cat's knocking shit over. Nugget, please. Here, have your bacon toy. Okay, I'm back. Oh, goodness. I really need to get my desk legs because my tailbone is hurting from sitting like this all the time. If you hear me making noises of pain, I just realized how much my butt's hurting. God damn it. He'd be visible until he can get into a room, and then he would still be darker than the shadows around him. That's the problem. Yeah, he would be very exhausted. If the hunters really wanted to take him down, uh, if they really, really wanted to take him down, they would be able to with sheer persistence, because they would just basically do what humans do to animals and outwalk him. The Eden Society took down the witch's royal family, and not just the royal family, but the entire clan in one night. So, all of their relatives, every last one of them, annihilated in one night, just through sheer persistence. And a trap. Traps work very well. They're still mortal. They may be very powerful, but they're still mortal. But yeah, that's what Muso Black, Vanta Black, they're different things. Muso Black is more black than Vanta Black. It's the blackest black. I think there's still one more. But basically it's like a carbon nanotube paint. So the light just gets lost in it. The light hits it and gets lost in the carbon nanotubes. It's really amazing. Science! And this is why I write magic systems based off of scientific concepts, because I know too much, and suspension of disbelief is really hard when you know too much. It's like watching Twisters, the movie. At least Twister was more scientifically based, but Twisters was just... Why? Why would you do that? Sometimes turning off your brain is really... just no. You can't do it. Sometimes you just absolutely should not. They turned off their brain when writing that movie. But they're like, you know what would be really cool? If we stopped the tornado instead of studied it. Cool, bro. As if environmental destruction and geoengineering, weren't problems enough. They never really touched on that subject, did they? Out of my rage. Not to mention the sheer amount of waste that would be generated by that thing. And absorption speeds. I have so many problems with Twisters. But yeah, no character is too powerful to be taken down. Not even gods. And if your character is too powerful to be taken down, they're a bad character. But you don't want to have the power creep problem, right? I try very hard to establish rules in the magic systems that make it difficult for characters like Highwire to exist. So, while I encourage you to create characters that are powerful, I also encourage you to create powerful characters with lots of flaws. Highwire's greatest flaw is her arrogance. And that stems from her misandry. I didn't realize that my big bad evil guy was actually like an extreme leftist. she's she's like the epitome of social justice warrior, but someone who actually has scary powers and talents. It's like how far would a social justice warrior go for their beliefs if they had the ability to do so and no one to stop them? It's essentially her premise in a way. When I really think about it. A means to an end. But yeah, I think I'm going to stick with this design for her. I hadn't meant to go like full cyberpunk with her, but I think it suits her. And now I want to do, like... because I tend to, you know, the variation in my styles. We've got, you know, cyberpunk, and then we have Nightlight here, who's, like, ancient Chinese fantasy. I hate his pants so much. I'm probably going to change that. Most definitely will change it. But, like, now I want to do them, like, through the ages, because, like, Starcatcher, his outfit will change over time. So will a couple of the other witches as they grow older, because the books take place over a course of several years. You know, it's kind of like Harry Potter growing up, you know. Styles change. People's tastes change. They mature. So, like Starcatcher's outfit, I do have ideas for the future. Alexander's sense of style changes dramatically over the course of, like, from the start of the book towards the middle of the series. Like, his own personal tastes in fashion changes as he goes from being, like, obsessed with frugality because he's always been poor to, I'm in a place where it's okay to wear something nice, and I have enough of a belief in myself as a human being that, like, I feel like I can accept being deserving of, you know, slightly nicer clothes and not just whatever I could get for the cheapest at the thrift store. So as he gains a little bit more self-confidence and self-worth, he starts to grow in terms of, you know, choices of fashion and taking care of himself. And the only part of him that he actually cares about and takes care of is his hair. And yeah, psychological damage, emotional damage. I like to take that meme and apply it liberally to my characters. Yvonne's emotional damage shows up in his exuberance and his like flaming extroversion. Vaughn is like a supernova of an extrovert, and he's a menace to Alexander, who's the extreme opposite of the spectrum. Alexander, black hair, Vaughn, white hair, polar opposites generally in personality. But then you start seeing the cracks form in the facade, and I love that when characters have that. And it was just like, I hope I can encapsulate that in my characters. I hope I can make people like look at these words on a page or these little drawings and go, those are people. Complex, deep individuals with all of their little nuanced life experiences, and the foods they eat, the way they speak, the clothes they wear, whether one looks people in the eye or not, without expressly laying those things out on a page. And then you take those traits and you make one of them extreme. And for Highwire, it's basically her intolerance of everyone else. She can't stand other people. I can imagine a situation where he tries to lure hunters into a building that has compromised electricity, so none of the lights work. You only have to fight a witch like Highwire. Yeah. Well, this scene that you see on screen takes place in a building where she compromised the building. Oh, you take out the lights so that your victims can't see anything to run away from you? And then you fuck them up. This takes place in a TV station. I can't wait to write that scene. Every time I get to writing a new version, I cannot wait to get to this scene because it's so fun to write. And I'm just like, I'm like clawing at my desk wanting to write this one again. Especially now that I've been able to sort of pseudo draw it. Just like, I want to. I need to. My name is Alexander Hamilton, and here are a million things I haven't done. But just wait. Just you wait. Just you wait. Is that from Hamilton? Yeah, there are a few scenes in my book that I'm just like, oh, I need to write this now, but I have to write everything else to get there. Yeah, I haven't seen Hamilton. There's a lot that I haven't seen, to be honest. I don't watch a lot of media, and I don't read a lot of books anymore. I think book reading was kind of killed for me by school. I got out of my English degree, and I'm like, I don't want to read anything anymore. But I was deeply depressed too, so like being forced to read things that I wasn't interested in reading at the same time as being in school just killed my motivation to read anything. But then I started reading Modao Zushi, and I can't stop reading it. I really like that author's writing. I say artist, author. Authors are artists, but artists aren't necessarily authors. It's like a square in the rectangle situation. I have heard some songs from it. I've never been into musicals because I have a very, very poor memory for music. My brother has an excellent memory for music. My dad was playing a CD this morning, and Cheese bless his soul, was actually awake. And we're sitting in the living room, and he starts quoting these German lyrics from this CD that I'm pretty sure I've never heard. And he's like, I remember this song. You used to play it a lot when we were kids. This is a CD we have, right? And my dad's like, how do you know that? Because, like, I'm pretty sure I've never heard it. She's just like, yeah, I remember it from a long time ago. My dad was shocked. And I'm like, no, Cheese has a really, really good memory for music. Like, really good. Like, insanely good. The man thinks he's not good at anything, but he's good at plenty of things. Like, goddamn, I never want to go to a restaurant again because his cooking's so good. Like, fuck restaurants. They're ass. Just let Cheese cook for you. His food's so good. He doesn't always get it right sometimes. He has a tendency to use too much pepper. You know, I'm discouraging that. Pepper is gross. Don't use it. It's a seasoning, not a flavor. There's a difference. And for someone who hates pepper, especially black pepper, don't flavor your food with pepper. You season it. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about a lot of things. I think it's obvious. This is probably why I'm a streamer. I'm like totally on point today. Why do you write like you're running out of time? Because I am. I'm living, aren't I? Existence is death. Memento mori. Create like it's your last moment. Always live like it's your last moment, because it could be. I spent 20 years being morbidly depressed, and so I wasted a lot of time. I won't waste it anymore. Technically, I do a lot of wasting of that time, but I'm also... You could consider streaming a waste of time, but I am also very much enjoying the streaming. So is it a waste of time if you enjoy it? That is the question. It depends on how you perceive the world around you. Like, if I weren't streaming, I probably would not have done this redesign of Highwire. And I would probably still be waffling on her looks. But now I kind of know what she looks like. Her color palette has expanded a little bit. Her design is a lot more fascinating than it used to be. And she's cooler. She's not just scary, she's cool. And I want my villain to be cool. I want people to be like, yes, Highwire is my favorite character, flaws and all, because she's badass. Not because she has titties. I could make Highwire a male character, and she would be the same. And when you can take your character and gender swap them, and nothing else changes, you know you've got a good character. If you weren't streaming, you probably would have burnt yourself out. I'm not sure about it. If I weren't streaming, I think I would probably just be wallowing in misery, to be honest. I need to be creating, and streaming is creating. Even if my form of creativity requires other people to be here listening to me. Like, you guys give me ideas. You give me motivation. I'm kind of feeding off of you in the way that you're receiving information and entertainment somehow from me. Including the thirst capacity for some. Yeah, well, I mean, you don't know Highwire is female until the scene that this picture is from. And either way, they still look like a thirst trap. Like, what's under that mask? You don't know. but they got a nice lithe body, and they're strong, they're smart. They have a very strong moral stance. It may not be morals you agree with, but they stick to their ethics. So you want your villain to be like, oh no, he's hot? Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There are some bad guys in the book that are like, ugh, you're like a gross old man. Like, ew, get away. It's like, yeah, you're gross and you're evil and I don't like you. You're vile. It's like Donald Trump and his leathery orange skin, you know? You're just like a bad person. And they're not necessarily witches. They're just bad people. Highwire just happens to be someone who's powerful, but they're not evil for the sake of evil. Well, once you start getting into their motivations and their history and you start learning about them, you might even empathize with them. You might miss stream tomorrow. You could just leave the stream window open and then you wouldn't lose your stream streak. Just watch the day after your streak will be preserved. Oh, I didn't know that. So you have like a grace period. Honestly, don't worry about stream streaks. They're just nice. But like, I know you guys are always here. Even without the stream streaks, like, they only brought that thing back recently. I'm pretty sure that that if Fantasy had the stream streak from when she first started watching, it would be close to 365 now. You can skip only one day at a time. Oh yeah, a grace period is nice. Even if it's just one day. But like, they only brought back the stream streaks, like, what, in August or something? Or end of August? But I've been streaming for more than a year now. Like, every day. The everyday part is coming. I think we reached that sometime in February is when I decided to start streaming 5 days a week. And I just stuck with it. Which is, like, really neat. The fact that, like, I've been able to do this consistently for an entire year. And I've never been tired of it. And I haven't given up on it is surprising to me because I've always given up on everything else in my life. And the only reason I'm still here doing this is because of you guys. Like, streamers cannot exist without their audience. Otherwise, they just exist. Like, they're just there. They're not doing anything productive. They're just existing. I very much feel sorry for the streamers who, like, they try every single day and they don't have anyone show up to their streams. That is so hard to do. And yet they still try in hopes that maybe they'll make it. But for me, like, the reason I gave up on making YouTube episodes is because literally nobody watched them. There was one guy who came in every time I uploaded a video and he said, commenting for support. But the watch time would be like 3 seconds. And I was like, I'm just gonna stop now. Because I feel like I'm wasting my time. It took so much time to make one episode that it wasn't worth it to even bother. I could just enjoy Minecraft on my own and not have to worry about anything like hard drive space and uploading and editing and exporting and blah 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 and thumbnails and copyright and whatever. I could just be myself in Minecraft. and play Minecraft on my own, which is why I stopped uploading. Same thing with games. Like, I don't really like uploading gaming content because it's just like there's too much to worry about and think about. Whereas streaming, like, I've got it set up. There's a setup that I'm working on in the background privately for things. I don't know if I'll ever get it done, but I would like to. So you're saying you're nothing without us? Exactly. I mean, I'm still me, and, like, I still have my talents and skills, and, like, I still have my book that I can write and publish without you guys. But as a streamer, like, here now as I am interacting with you people, I am nothing without you. I am here because of you guys. And the only reason I even see this as something viable to continue is because you guys show up all the time. And, you know, there's, how many people watching? 7. There's 7 people in chat, excluding bots. And myself. And that's just 7 people, but you're people, right? And you come here every day just to hang out with me, and, like, I cannot express how truly honored I am that there are 7 people on this planet who show up every day just because I'm here. It's not, 3,000, like Bow the Whale or Iron Mouse or whatever. I don't think I could handle that, to be honest. I would probably get freaked out. The fantasy, just leave the stream window open, and it'll just start the stream while you're watching it. Like, if you just leave the chat window open, like when I end stream, if you just leave that window open. No streams if I get successful? If I get successful, I'll have to stream because it'll be work. But, I don't ever want to forget moments like this where, like, I'm being purely honest with you guys, where, you're the people that make this happen. And, like, thanks for the hydrate, Neff. And the posture check. Everybody unstrip thine spines. Neff's just trying to show that he's still here, even if he's not talking. I appreciate it. Oh, that one bounced off me head. A little wave back and forth. Like seaweed in the ocean currents. When you leave your laptop off? Oh. Well, you know what? If you lose your streak, you lose your streak. It doesn't matter. It's just numbers. So get another one. Make it go burr. It's that's just the way it is. You can't have constant growth in a closed system. Physics doesn't allow for it. The first time you looked at my stream, you were doom scrolling? You can doom scroll on Twitch? What were you doom scrolling for? Cause I'm tight. You just didn't know what to watch, so you were just you just picked something? I'm glad I could be your random pick that you show up for frequently. Like, if being here made your life better, then, like, I've done my job. Like, congratulations. You've won prize. There's more talking today than painting. Sorry. It's one of those days. It's like I can't walk and chew gum at the same time kind of thing. Drawing and talking at the same time, very difficult, because I get into this flow state where I'm just like, I wish I could show some of the other, like, drawings that I've been doing. Because when I go offline, I open up a different file, and I'm doing a lot of, like, figure studies, but there are a lot of naked people, and I can't show that on Twitch. It's very frustrating. But my figure drawing has gotten a lot better because I'm here painting with you guys, and I'm always trying to do something new and different. Looking at streamers with low watchers. I mean, I'm glad that there are people out there that do that, because there are a lot of streamers who need that. To find someone to give a chance to. That's one of the biggest problems I've had my whole life, is people just don't give me a chance for things. That's why I can't find a job, because they're like, well, why should I pick you over somebody else, right? Oh, we're not at 3 hours yet. 2 hours and 53 minutes still. But like, I've been with streamers who raid into other streamers just because they're small, and then you find out that your ethics absolutely do not align with them. Like, one time, Sai's like, oh, well, this VTuber looks kind of cute, and they're playing the game we were just playing, and then she raided into them, and the person was like a Bible-toting, Jesus-obsessed girl, and we're just like, oh, God. That was a mistake. Because everybody else in the chat too have the fairly same opinions as us, like the community, in size community. So like dropping her in on someone who's a Jesus lover and like streams just to basically spend the entire time talking about the Bible is absolutely the worst content for those people to go to, and then that reflects poorly on Sai as a decision maker. We're talking about streamers. So, oh, enjoy your food. You came back to me gushing about how awesome my community is, and like how it's nice that there are people like Death who are like, oh, this streamer has a low amount of viewers, so I'll come and check them out and maybe give them a watch and see what they're about. Maybe I'll find someone who's a good content creator or something, someone I really vibe with. And, you know, Death is still here, so clearly he vibes with us, which is great. It's great news. Enjoy your food, Death. I hope it's deathly delicious. I don't know what I was going for there. I'm dumb. I'm potato. It's fine. So you're thinking of becoming a Bible thumper? No, I was talking about like one time Sai raided into somebody who ended up being like this really like intense Jesus loving VTuber girl. Like her model was cute and stuff, and so Sai's like, oh, this model looks cute, and they're playing the same game we were just playing, so we'll raid into them as like a, you know, keep the vibes going. It was absolutely not the vibes. It was the opposite. And it's, you know, you can turn new people off from your community if you raid someone who doesn't vibe with your community, too. So as a streamer, like, you have to be careful, which is why I won't raid into anybody that I have not checked out beforehand and know what kind of content they have. So, like, Evan was recommended to me by someone. I checked him out, and I was like, okay, yeah, he seems cool. And now he's, like, a friend, right? Well, he's an acquaintance. I would like to be Evan's friend. It's just Evan is a very busy man, so it's hard to be friends with people who are really busy because you don't have a lot of time to just chill, right? And check DMs. You have sent me a name. It's a good name. 'Tis a good name. Wait till I start talking about the transportation the witches use. I'm still working on the nuances of their transportation system, but I don't know what to call them. I just call them flyers for now. But you know, like how witches have standard brooms. Starcatcher has like this little black rain cloud that he flies around on. And I just haven't come up with a better word for them than flyers. Because I don't know why, I just can't seem to come up with a better concept. There's sometimes some things are just too difficult. That is one of them. But it's a good name. We should find somebody to raid because we're at the end of stream. But it was a very good day. I am honored that people want to take the time to create fan characters for my world that, well, I guess now I'm gonna absolutely have to publish. Let's see. Evan's not up yet. Maybe I should wait until noon to see if he goes live. Of course, you come back when the stream is gonna end. That's what you get for sleeping! Sleep at night! I'm just teasing you, Ross. I hope you're feeling better. Well, it's a busy day then, Necromancer. That's good that you're busy. I mean, we like to have you here, too. But it's, you know, good to be busy, too. It's good to have variety in your life. I give you motivation, go do the things. If you have difficulty keeping a regular schedule, your motivation will drop because you're probably not getting quality sleep when you are sleeping. Gonna be busy 3 to 6 months with the new pepperoni. The new pepperoni. You're gonna have to get me some pictures of that dog too, so that I can create like royal portraits of both of them. Quality sleep is a thing? Yeah, when I get quality sleep, my weight drops. Yeah, I know pepperoni is the word you were going for. It was just funny that you've got a new pepperoni. As someone fresh out of surgery, they got a new pepperoni. I'm trying to unfoobar it, but that's working with a family that doesn't understand me. Fair enough. Fresh pepperoni. Yeah! Oh. Good old fresh sausages. Alright. Alright. We still don't have an Evan yet. Evan, it's 12:02. Get your butt online. Tube is playing Ring Fit Adventures. But I am thinking Moko Maid today because Fantasy, I think, mentioned him just a moment ago. Yeah, Fantasy mentioned Moko. He can be up to 15 minutes late. Well, that's Evan's problem! He's typing in announcements. He would love to hear about my thirst trap baddie. A fresh Dommy Mommy. For fresh Dommy Mommy for the hordes. Hydrate and a stretch. He said he's going to start streaming later. Okay, we'll go to Moko then. We could do with some more energy. I already showed them Highwire the other day, didn't I? Oh, Naffles Boom, Necromancer Snoop. Well, thank you for the update on Evan, Necromancer, I appreciate it. And, my dear Franz, we are off sailing to other waters. May you wash ashore in distant lands and find new and exciting adventures. Make new friends, bring them back to the islands. And I will see you at the regular time tomorrow. Thank you all so much for coming. Remember, I would not be here if it weren't for you. I always appreciate your presence, and I will see you tomorrow. Everybody have a fantastic day. I love you. Bye-bye.